Hello and welcome to my YouTube walkthrough tutorial about how I figured out the color work for the Eagles section of my Granny Pullover 2.0. A little review: the Granny Pullover 2.0 pattern goes over how to do a granny square for the back panel, how to add a solid front panel. I do have a little cheat sheet page on how I broke up the math for doing the eagle section, so you can do your own color work yourself with different wording and lettering and everything you want. This video will go with that. It's going to be a free resource, obviously, because it's on my channel, but the actual pattern is going over just a solid front. Color work is kind of on you with it. We are just going to jump into it. So this is my sweater. I followed my pattern all the way through until I got to the section where I wanted to add my lettering in. And the first step was I needed to know how many stitches across I had to work with in order to fit the E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, Go Birds. So I'm gonna break that down for you. So this is my original cheat sheet. So I'm gonna break down all the different numbers and go over what they are. So the first number right here is 56. So 56 is the number of stitches across my front panel. So that's how many stitches I have to work with across to fit in all my letters, okay? And then the next thing I did is I kind of sketched out each letter. So let me just, so for the E, I kind of like use these tally marks, each as a stitch, to figure out how many stitches wide and how many stitches tall. So for the E, it was 6 stitches wide and 5 stitches tall. For the A, it was 7 stitches wide, 5 stitches tall. You can see kind of I did the diagonal of the A, and then these two were right on top of each other. And then I did 1 stitch in the middle to kind of do the cross for the A. So that's my A. The G is on the back. So here's my sketch for the G. And that ended up being 7 wide and 5 tall as well. Again, as soon as I figured out that the E was going to be 5 tall, I was trying to make sure that I could do all of the other letters in that height. If I couldn't, I would have had to restart with the E and make it taller. The L is right here. That I was able to do 6 wide, 5 tall. The E, I did 6 wide, 5 tall, same as this first one. And then the S, here's the sketch down here for the S. I was able to do that 6 wide, 5 tall. So then I counted everything up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are 6 wide. So that's where we're seeing up here is this math. So 6 times 4 is 24 stitches for those 4 letters, and then the other 2 are 7 wide, so that's 14 stitches, which gets me 38 stitches all the way. So this is letters across. So then I needed to figure out the spacing. So that's what you see this 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1 coming from. So I needed to see how many stitches left I had to do the spacing. So I did 56 minus 38 to see how many stitches left across I have to space the letters out. And that ended up being 18. So then it was just figuring out the math. How many spaces do I have between letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 5 goes into 18 3 times. So I was able to space it out with 3 in between each letter. So I had E with a 3 space, A with a 3 space, G with a 3 space, L, 3, E, 3, S. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that meant that I still had, minus the 15 in between, I have 3 stitches left over, which isn't perfectly centered. So I just decided to do 1 stitch in the front and 1 stitch in the back. And I think I ended up, I'll have to actually look here. One of them has 2. So let's look at the sweater. So I was counting across here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So we are zoomed out. So I think, honestly, let me look down my center. 1. I think I ended up doing 2 on this side, but when you wear it, you really can't see the full difference. So let's just go back to that paper. Ended up doing 2 over here. And again, I'll go over these just quickly. I'm going to go over these sketches for you. So for the, 1 sec, that's the timer. For my egg casseroles. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just going to go over each of these sketches so that you can kind of see how I did it. I got very lucky, and my E was the right size I needed, and I kind of based all of the other letters off of that E. We're just going to pick another random word, and we're going to try and do all this math together. Let's do 2 words, and we're gonna do go birds, okay? So I still am gonna use my sweater, so I'm gonna use the 56 stitches across. So let me just spell this out. So we have G-O, and then a bigger space, and B-I-R-D-S, okay? And we still have 56 stitches because I want it to be like on the front. If I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that I have like the extensions under the arms that I could also work with if I wanted to. So I could add some extra stitches because I do have them in that direction, but I do want it to be across the chest. So I might need to, since Go Birds is more letters, I might need to change some of my original lettering. 56 stitches across. So I had done a G before, and my G before was 7 wide and 5 tall, and it looked like this. So I think we're gonna have to slim it up a little bit because it's 1, 2 with a bigger space, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6 with a bigger, it's 7 with a bigger space. So we're gonna have to shorten things up a little bit. So for my G, I am going to, so I'm gonna just go up with it. I'm just gonna get rid of a row on each side. So I'm gonna make it 5 wide. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the top of the G. And I'm still gonna keep it the same height as originally. So I'm gonna go, let me zoom in here for you. 5 tall. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I need to go across. So we're gonna try and keep it 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I need this up. So I can go up, 2, and over 2, and I'll still have a white space here because it's 5 wide, so I'll also have a white space here for kind of the space for the G. So that's my G. So the G is going to be 5 by 5. Okay. O should be very simple because it's just an O. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the original row. 5, 5. So 5 by 5. Yay. We'll figure out this spacing once we see what we have left. So the B, I think, is going to be basically the same as the O, except we need the line across. So we'll do it 5. So that's our O. So the B, we'll do it 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my only thing is maybe I can make a little indent here. So I'm gonna still go up and up here, but for this 5th row, I'm not gonna do a space here. I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, so that it gives it that kind of interior here. So you'll have 4, and then this will be just back to your base color. So we're still 5 by 5 here, yay. I is pretty easy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you wanted to do like this, you could even go like that and make it a 3 by 5. R. So R is gonna be probably pretty close to what the B looks like. So we'll start with our height, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5. And then we're gonna go down 1. And then I'm gonna do the indent similar to how I did the B. So I'll go in 1 and do the other 3. And now I just need my kickstand out. So it's kind of up to you here. I have 2 rows to do the kickstand. So I'm thinking instead of going off of this first dash, I'm gonna go off the second dash and go 1, 2 for my R. Or if you wanted to, you could even go off of this dash and do 1, 2. We can play around with what that looks like. So that is our R. So we have our I, and our R is gonna be 5 by 5 as well. Okay. And now we're at the D, which again is gonna be very similar to our O. I'm gonna go down with this one because I have more space. I'm just gonna get rid of these 2 corner tabs. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll do the middle 3. 1, 2, 3. So it gives it that kind of rounded look. So D is also going to be 5 by 5. And then my S. So S, let me look back to what I did here. It was 6 by 5. So I can get rid of, probably I'm going to get rid of, I don't know. I mean, these are all 5 by 5. And I had 2 of these were 7. So maybe I'll just keep the S exactly the same. So the S is gonna be 6 by 5. And it's gonna be exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So that is kind of our sketch for Go Birds. So now we need to do all the math. So we still have, again, 56 stitches total. So let's count the width. So we have 5, 10, 15. This is 3, so 18 plus 5. 18 plus 5 is 23. 28. 28 plus 6 is going to be 34. So the letters are 34, which, oh my goodness, it's almost exactly the same. 38. Okay. So we have 34 stitches for the letters. Okay. So I'm just going to flip. Well, actually, we can go down here. So we have 56 minus 34 is going to be 22. 2. Yep. 22 stitches for spacing. Okay, so how many spaces do we have? We have 1, and I'm gonna count this as 2 spaces, maybe 3, we'll see. So we'll say, we'll go 3 conservative for now. So 3 here, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to do 8. So I have 8 spaces. So that's if I only do like one blank in between. And I did 3 here, so I feel like I need at least 2. So if I go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and I could do 4 here, that I'm playing around with it. If I double each, so if I do 2 times, that gives me 16 stitches, which gives me an extra 6 to work with. So I could do 3 on this side and 3 on this side. And then this would be 2, this would be 6, this would be 2, 2, 2, 2. So let's double check the math. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 6 is 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 22. So that's gonna be our lettering. So we take this and we would do color changes. So all of these dashes are double crochets, and then the blank spaces are gonna be your other color. Again, 1 second, I have to check my egg casseroles. Okay, I'm back. So double crochets in, I would say green for me if I'm doing another one, and then all these blank spaces. So for example, I'll just do circles, 1, 2, 3, 4. These blank spaces, so the circles would be white. So you're doing color changes. So I'm just gonna do a solid piece to show you how I would go about making this happen. So let's jump into that. Okay, so I did a double crochet foundation chain of 56 stitches to work off of. So we are going to start with the 3 stitches for the initial spacing before we go into the G. So I'm starting with a standing double crochet, which is like 2 single crochets stacked. You can start the chain 2 if you'd like. And so that's 1 stitch, and then we do a second double crochet, and then our 3rd double crochet. But for that 3rd double crochet, we're not gonna do the final pull through. We're gonna grab our color we're changing to and pull through with that color. And now we are working on the G. So the top of the G is 5 stitches. So I'm going to do 5 double crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on that 5th stitch again, we're not going to do the final pull through. We're going to make sure our yarn is on the back side of our project and pull through back to the white. So you see we have 5 green stitches, and then we're going to the spacing, which is 2 white stitches. So 1, 2, don't do the final pull through because we're going on to the O, so we're pulling through with the green, and then we'll do our 5 across for the O. So 1, and speed through, just doing double crochets. Again, when you get to the last stitch, do not do the final pull through with your color change. So now we have the top of the G and the top of the O. Now we're doing the spacing, which is 6. So I'm going to do 6 double crochets in the white, and then don't do that final pull through, and we're on to the B. So pull through with the green, and we'll do the 5 double crochets for the top of the B, or actually, yeah, 5 double crochets for the top of the B. I didn't know if it was 4 or 5 for a second. And we're basically going to repeat that across. So that's how you do your color changes. So follow the top row of your stitch charts and the spacing and do your color changes using the technique I showed you. And I will meet you at the end of the first row. So here we are. This is the top or the first row of all of our letters. So we have G, the O, the big space, and then we have the B, and then the I, and then the R, and then the D, which is only 4 across the top, not 5. So that's why you see 4. And then the extra white for the spacing there. And then 6 across for the top of the S. And then my 3 for the end spacing. So now we're going to work on the second row of our letters, working backwards from the S. So we're going to start the row with our 3 white stitches for spacing. So 1 double crochet, doing my standing double crochet, 2, and then 3. And now we want to go into that second row of my S's, which starts with a little bit of white. So we need 4 white stitches to get to those 2 green stitches. Again, don't do the final pull through of that last stitch. We're going to change our colors. Important thing here is that we're working on the unfinished side now, so your yarn is going to be pulled forward versus backwards. Pull through with your color change. I have 2 dashes on my stitch chart, so I'm going to do 2 double crochets in my green. But again, don't do the final pull through. Pull your color to the front because we're working on the unfinished side, and switch your colors. And then we're going to the D, so we have 2 white double crochets. And then we do have this kick out with 1 green and then spacing and then another green. So there's 3 in the middle. I did my final pull through, so that was a mistake on my part. I'm going to insert my hook back into those 2 loops and pull out that final pull through so I can change my color. So we have 1 stitch in green, change it back to white, and then in the middle of the D we have 1, 2, 3 stitches in white. So 1, 2, 3. Again, don't do your final pull through. We want to switch back to our green, and this is the final stitch of the D, and then we'll go back to spacing and then work on the R. Don't do your final pull through, change back to white, and then now we're on the R. So you can see if you flip onto the finished side, these letters coming into shape. Again, we're working on the second row of our letters backwards from S. So keep working using your stitch charts backwards. Check as you go to make sure it's looking like it's working up correctly. But I will meet you at the end of the second row to show you what it looks like. So here we are, 2 rows done of our Go Birds. You can kind of start to see the letters coming into play. So we are going to work on the third row, which is the middle row of our letters. Again, we're starting with the G this time and working in order over to the S for Go Birds. If it helps, you can use a different color in your stitch marker, your stitch charts, to indicate like spaces if it's hard to tell where spaces are versus your color change. That is completely up to you. But I am going to work this third row. Again, we're working on the finished side this time. So the important thing is that you keep your yarn behind your project for this row. But I am going to work this third row and I will meet you at the end to see what it looks like. So third row is done. Again, just following my stitch charts, making sure to do my color changes, how I went over them in the first half of this video. So now we're going to turn our project, be working on the unfinished side, and do our fourth row. Again, if you need to mark additional spacing, just so you know where there are spaces so you don't miss them, feel free to use a different symbol or a different color. The R is the one spot that I thought that I might mess up, so that's why I'm adding in that additional marking for myself. But I am going to do these last 2 rows and I will meet you with the finished product. So we have Go Birds. we are done. We do have a little spot right here with the R kickstand that's a little messy. I have to go back and troubleshoot that. But for a first attempt, this is a very, very good. I just have to figure out what happened with my color change here that it doesn't look nice. I hope this was helpful for you with a introduction to color work. If you have any questions, please be sure to drop them below, and all the timestamps are in the description. Thanks for following along.